bad copy.
Remember, it ain't who you know, it's who knows you. Are they talking about us? Shh, wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere.
Seriously? If you're betting horses and not watching these shows, you gotta be freaking crazy. Capiche?
You're watching Past the Wire TV.
Knowledge. It isn't free. You gotta pay attention.
And ladies and gentlemen, we direct your attention to the winner's circle for a very special presentation. Representatives from Handicapping for Horses, along with professional handicapper Jonathan Stetton, are proud to support the work of the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Accepting the check for the inaugural Handicapping for Horses event this past summer at Saratoga are representatives from the Thoroughbred Aftercare Alliance and Old Friends. Gulfstream Park welcomes Michael Blowen, Jonathan Stetton, Kelly Stovey, Jim Rhodes here this afternoon. Since 2012, the TAA has awarded more than $17.2 million to accredited organizations. Handicapping for Horses looks to make their Saratoga Springs event larger and raise money for Thoroughbred's Aftercare year after year. Once again, thank you to Handicapping for Horses, Jonathan Stetton, and welcome to Old Friends and our friends at the TAA. The Rainbow Six and race number 5 up next.
And they're off in the Kentucky Derby.
You're watching Past the Wire TV, the biggest races at the best tracks. From the Kentucky Derby to the Breeders' Cup. The best horse racing coverage is right here on Past the Wire TV.
Dynasty in motion, reshaping the sport's greatest tradition, channeling the legends of his line and surpassing them. 4 of the last 6 Derby winners carry his genes. A Golden Son, a Horse of the Year. Another chapter written beneath those iconic spires. Derby dreams fulfilled for the titans of our industry. From authentic to sovereignty, a legacy both real and supreme. Into mischief.
Everybody, Dan Oman here with some exciting news. DRF Formulator, the gold standard in past performance information, is now free, exclusively on DRF Bets. Join DRF Bets with the promo code WINNING, get a $250 first deposit match bonus, a $10 free bet, and free Formulator already uploaded to your account. Access Formulator's premium features, including sortable trainer stats, race replays, personalized trip notes, and lots more. Free Formulator, exclusively on DRF Bets.
Often imitated, never duplicated. Ciao tutti. Thank you everybody for tuning in to another Thoroughgraph Race of the Week show on Past the Wire TV. We said we were going to take this to a new level. We've been doing these shows for about 2 months now. We've hit some out of the park. We've done really good on most of them. 2 we got wrong. One of them made sense. One of them doesn't, but we'll talk about that in a second. This week, we're going to do the Ballerina. I picked the Ballerina this week because, number one, Del Mar is a pain in the neck to do. They don't draw Saturday's races until late. By the time the past performances come out and the Thoroughgraph comes out and they get the races drawn, it's late. We're a little late this week too, but that's our fault, not their fault. So we'll deal with it. But Del Mar's just tough to do. We're going to try and do the Pacific Classic, but we may have to do it as a bonus in addition to the regular show because the past performances just come out so late. Hopefully Pacific Classic Day, they'll get them done early at Del Mar, but they're obviously having trouble filling those races and filling those cards even on Saturday. So be it. Just goes with the territory nowadays. We'll deal with it. But this week, the Ballerina, grade 1 on the Travers undercard, 7 furlongs, fillies and mares. You expect fast, quality horses, so we're going to have a lot of really difficult patterns to decipher and really good numbers. And that's why I picked the race, because I thought it was going to be very challenging to decipher, and I thought there was a lot we can learn from it. You can definitely, and you should, I don't know why you wouldn't, download the Ballerina Thoroughgraph sheets for free. Just go to passthewire.com. There's Thoroughgraph ads on there. Click on any one of them. It'll take you to a box. They'll see a box on the Thoroughgraph site. Pass the Wire Race of the Week. Bang. Download, hit that. It'll take you, right through the prompts to get these sheets for free. They're good to have while you're watching the show. They're good to have while, you're reviewing or after the show. So why not get them if you can get them for free? Hopefully it helps illustrate what a great tool Thoroughgraph is, and you're going to want them for every race that you're, wagering money on. So there's that. So this is a great introduction, and it's also a great way for us to learn and interact and, bounce off each other ideas and thoughts and angles as we go forward and really, take this to a new level, which I think we've been doing. We've beat some odds-on horses. We've done really well. The 2 mysteries. One, what I always do is go back. What did I miss? What could I have done better? In the Sword Dancer, El Cordobes, the other Godolphin horse, 100% on me. I underestimated how much he could move forward, move into this country and those firm turf courses in the United States. But the Del Mar Oaks last week, I'm just going to call that a head scratcher. Horses will humble everybody, and that's one of those races that even going back after the fact, can't figure it out, don't see what I missed, don't know what happened, don't know how that race unfolded. So I just filed it away as one of those head scratches. And the more you seriously do this and try and, tackle and beat this game, not less, the more that kind of stuff will happen to you because, like I said, horses humble everybody. And that was a humble for me because I just don't understand how the Del Mar Oaks unfolded or how to win a 1 and how some of those horses ran. It happens. Part of the game. You shake it off, turn the page, and we move on. That's what we do. Smoke clears. We're still standing. Here we are. So we're going to look at the Ballerina. Tough race. Like I said, I picked it because I knew it was going to be really, really tough and very, very challenging. So we're not ducking anything or anybody or anyone. We don't back down from nothing. So we're going to try and tackle this Ballerina. Now, for those of you that are relatively new to these shows, we're not deep diving, handicapping the winner of the race. A lot of times we come up with ice cold winner, but what we're doing is using Thoroughgraph for what I believe it excels at as good or better than any other product out there. And that's identifying who's going forward, who's going backwards, who's fast enough to win, who's not fast enough to win, who could move forward enough to be fast enough to win, and who could move forward and still not be fast enough to win, who's going to bounce, regress. and things like that. And that helps you make check marks or draw lines through sometimes a few horses, sometimes a lot of horses, sometimes all but one horse. And that could be a tremendous edge. And that's what we try and do here. Look for an edge and find an edge and find those, just assets, diamonds in the rough, whatever you want to call them. But those edges, those, things that can kind of make a significant difference, because when we find them, it leads to this. And that's why we play this game. So that's what we're going to try and find. And, they're out there. They're definitely out there. So hopefully we can find it. Now, the Ballerina, 7/8 of a mile, grade 1. Like I said, I knew it was going to be tough. And when I glanced at it, I saw that it is. We're going to go over like we do for the horses that have run a lot this year. All right. We're already in late August. We usually have enough races this year to kind of get an idea. But then we'll also look back on the career and see the fastest number that they ever ran, because I like to know that when I'm looking at a horse that's had a lot of starts. I like to see their pattern this year, what they're doing this year, which direction they're going, which way the wind's blowing, all of that stuff. But I also like to know in my mind how fast their peak or best effort was, because I always look at, are they going to go back to that? Are they going to go past that? Or is that a thing of the past? Their better days are behind them and they're a little bit long in the tooth. So knowing how fast their lifetime best is can be a help. And it's just something I like to know. If you don't have to, pay that much attention to it. But let's start from the rail. Mystic Lake, we got 9 horses to go through. Shouldn't be that brutal. Okay, Mystic Lake has run a 2, 3, now 4. This year starts fast at Gulfstream Park, 0 3/4, 1 3/4. Churchill Downs flops, 11 1/2. Lone Star, 2 1/2. Belmont, 2 3/4. So we got 2 1/2, 2 3/4. We got the back 0. We got the back 1 3/4. We got fastest lifetime ever race was that 0 3/4. She had done that once before as a 3-year-old. So her fastest race we know is a 0. She's got the paired 2s. I'm going to say she bounced back good off that significant regression at Churchill Downs where she flopped. That was on an off track, but she's handled an off track, so I'm not going to say that was an excuse. So I think the 2 forward move, the 2 paired 2s, no pun intended, the 2 paired 2s, 2 1/2, 2 3/4 would indicate to me that she's on her game and probably going to go a little forward. 1 0 is definitely a possibility for Mystic Lake. Is that fast enough? We'll see. Brightwork. We know Brightwork likes this racetrack. She's won on it before. Her lifetime best is a 2 1/2. But this year she has not come back anywhere near fast enough to win. 4 1/2 regresses off to 4 1/2 to 9 1/4. Coming back to a track we know she loves. She can go forward, but she's going to have to really go forward a lot of points, like 8 at least to be a contender. I don't see that happening, even at a track that she loves, and I'm not even sure she's going the right way. So 4 1/2, 9 1/2. I'm going to say Brightwork, not on Saturday for me. Majestic, oops. Kendrick Carmouche, who's riding lights out from the 3-hole. This horse has run a 2, 3, 4, and now 5, and has a lot of starts all over the place. Fastest lifetime race. And I apologize for talking a little fast. I don't want to hold everybody up. I want to get through these races. So if I talk fast, I'm sorry. You could listen a little faster. This way I do not have to slow down so you can catch up. So we'll be able to get through this. 5-year-old, Majestic, oops. 6, 13 1/4, 6, 10 3/4, 6. All of a sudden, light bulb. 1 1/2, 1, 2 1/4. 3 fast races in a row. Oaklawn 2 at Monmouth. Now, it's not like she's never run fast before, but she's never run that fast. Before this year, her lifetime best was a 6 1/4. So she came back as a 5-year-old running that, then tailed off a little. And now all of a sudden, as a 5-year-old, she's faster than she has ever been. Don't know why. Don't know what's got into her. But, those last 3 races are fast enough to contend. Can she maintain that? Well, 1.5, 1, 2 1/4. Got to do it against this kind of company at Saratoga. If she can, she's a contender. Now, strictly on numbers. Can she carry that into this kind of field, the grade 1 and this kind of class, and still show that? I don't know. I would say the jury is out on that. I'm a little skeptical, but I guess we'll find out on Saturday. Helena's Forte, 2-year-old, 3-year-old, now 4-year-old. Her lifetime best is a 1.5, and she ran it last time out. So this year she goes to Prairie Meadows, runs a 5.5. That was not her lifetime best. Before that, her lifetime best was as a 3-year-old. She had run a 3 3/4 midway through her 3-year-old season. So she comes back, she runs a 5.5, and then she jumps forward to a 1.5. Well, in her 3-year-old year, when she ran the 3 3/4, she regressed to a 6.5. This year, she comes back 5.5, then jumps big time forward to a 1.5. I say she regresses off the 1.5 like she did off the 3 3/4. Lifetime best regression at 3, lifetime best regression at 4 is how I would probably think this is going to unfold. And I would say that if she regresses off the 1.5, she's not going to be fast enough, because even if she goes back to a 3 or a 4, not going to cut it against these. Claret Beret. What do we have with Claret Beret? We have the second horse from Safi Joseph. Tough pattern to read for me, but nothing at 2. At 3, a lot of races. Steadily clawed her way forward. A little bit of a Z pattern, but wound up 7, 7, 8. Then comes back. Kind of stays in that ballpark. 9.5, 7 1/4. Then all of a sudden, bang, lights out race, 0 3/4 negative. I don't know where that came from. Then regresses off that to a 1. Now, is she going to, bounce back from the regression? No pun intended. Bounce back off the slight bounce. Or is she possibly going the wrong way off that monster number? I would say more likely bounce back, because if she was going the wrong way, I think she might have regressed more than a 1 off the 0 3/4 negative number. So I see her based strictly on the numbers and based strictly on those last 2 races as a sneaky contender in here. And she's what? She's 6-1 on the morning line with IRAD. She went from Oaklawn to Gulfstream and got super fast, maintained that at Churchill. She's had time off. The numbers tell me she can absolutely contend, and possibly at a price. Zitlos is a horse who's danced a lot of dances and is, I would say, relatively consistent, especially this year. Her lifetime best came as a 4-year-old. She ran a 1 1/4 at Keeneland in the fall. Then went to Del Mar, run a 6, bounced off that. This year, she comes, and she's got some 2s, 2 1/4, 2 3/4. So she's always had, ability and been fast. This year, she comes back 2.5, 2 1/4, then 4 1/4 at Saratoga. Now comes back. Paired to 2s, didn't go forward. Not a pattern that I love. Don't like the way she's coming into the race on the numbers. I'm going to say she doesn't have a forward-moving pattern, even though her fastest races are probably fast enough to be a fringe player, and she is the kind of filly that can capitalize off the right setup with a late run. But sticking strictly to the patterns and numbers, I don't think she has a forward moving pattern in my opinion. Scylla, okay. Another one that's pretty fast. Doesn't really win a lot, but pretty fast. Lifetime best is a 1. And believe it or not, she did that first time out as a 3-year-old. She runs a 1. So bing, hello, I'm on the scene. I'm fast. Pay attention to me. And a lot of people have. She's taken a lot of money. She's running a lot of tough, big races. Hasn't won a lot of them, but always around, always making a move, always look like she can do it and then doesn't close the deal. At 4, she maintained that ability, run a bunch of 1s, 4 1s, all 1.5s, 4 times as a 4-year-old. Now at 5, she comes back 2, 2.5, 1.5, back to that 1.5. Probably going to run a 1, 1.5 again, maybe even a 0, run her lifetime best. She's got a forward moving pattern. She's fast enough to win on the numbers alone. Absolutely a contender, absolutely going in the right direction. But I got a question if she's got that thing that you can't teach, that heart, that killer instinct. I ain't seeing it, but maybe she's going to put it together. And if she catches a field that she's fast enough to beat, that may happen. My main squeeze, okay? Mike Maker, another horse with a lot of starts. We got races at 2, weren't that fast. Races at 3, got a lot faster, a lot better at 3, and has kind of been maintaining that. But what do I see? I see a 0.5 lifetime best to start her 4-year-old career, and she did a lifetime best to start her 3-year-old career. She did a 3.5 to start her 3-year-old career. So, these patterns and similar, nuances and idiosyncrasies, why I love the pattern so much is because they repeat. They repeat. So you study them, and sometimes this year, 0.5 regresses to a 2.25. Regresses off that to a 7 at Churchill Downs. And then in a field she completely outclassed on paper, she runs a 1.5 negative number. I believe that's the fastest of anybody in the race thus far. So that was a lights out race at this racetrack where she's run fast before. What does she do off that? She's running back quick off a lifetime best against softer competition, and now moving into the deep end of the pool off short rest. I'd say she's got a regression type of pattern or a dreaded bounce word type of pattern. So that's how I see main squeeze. But that last race was extremely, extremely fast. And if she only regresses a little bit, 1.5 negative, if she goes back to a 0 negative, a 0, or a 1, then she's still a contender because horses can bounce or regress and win. We know that. But I personally don't like betting horses that I believe are going to bounce, even if I think they're going to bounce and win. The last horse I bet who I thought was going to bounce and win was White Barrio when he won the Breeders' Cup Classic, because he was just so much faster than anybody else in the race at that time that he could bounce 3-4 points and still win the race. That race, in my mind, was for second. But I generally don't like doing that. That's how I feel about it. But okay, last, certainly not least, especially when they come from Bob Baffert's barn, Hope Road. Hope Road didn't start off all that fast as a 2-year-old, especially considering she came from Bob's barn, 13, 12.5, 18. Not Bob type 2-year-old, especially good 2-year-old numbers. But at 3, she got a lot faster, 5, 3, 5, 5, 3, really, really fast. Then even faster, comes back, runs a lifetime best to start her 4-year-old year, 3. Then runs a 0.5 negative, regresses off that 0.5 to a 3.25 at Churchill. Both of those last 2 races were at Churchill. And now she's fresh coming to Saratoga. I got to say she's got that 0.5 that's kind of jumping and out at me. freshened up, comes to Saratoga fresh. Last time she run a 3. They laid her off the same amount of time, runs back and runs a 0 negative. A 0.5, not a negative, 0.5. Now she goes from there, she goes to that 3 1/4. They lay her off the same amount of time. What do I see? Like I said, sometimes these things repeat. That same amount of time to a new top. I think she's going to, again, run a new top. She's going to run that 0.5, or maybe even get into the negative numbers, which makes her a major contender in the race. And you could see it, the pattern just, to me, the way I look at the patterns, jumps out at me. The spacing is almost identical to the day. So last time that led to a top, once again, might lead to another top. So running down the Ballerina, like I said, we expected it to be tough. What did we say? We said Mystic Lake has got some of the numbers to win. Not really something I love, but definitely has the numbers to win. Not 100% sold on which way her pattern's going. I tend to think we're going to see the same kind of race from her, which is kind of like a fringe type of race. Bright Work, didn't think she was fast enough. Majestic Oops, I don't think I believed in her against this kind of company, even though she's got numbers that say she can contend. Helena's Forte looked like a regression off the lifetime best to me, coming back fast. Claret Beret was one that looked sneaky good off those last 2 races. Zeitlos, I didn't think had a forward-moving pattern. Scylla, I thought had a great pattern, very fast. Might be sitting on a career race. My Main Squeeze looked like a regression to me, and Hope Road definitely looked like another horse that's coming to a lifetime best number. So we will see how that shakes out. And we will revisit it after the fact, and hopefully we don't have another Delmar Rogues head scratcher. Let's hope that's done for the year. But you never know. We may get a few more. We may not get any more. You never know. So thanks for tuning in. What do we got coming up? We got already up out on the channel. We got the 30-second Travers show, which was really fun to do. We had the whole crew out there for that one. You may want to check that out. And I'm going to do a show probably today, tomorrow, maybe Monday. I don't know. We'll see. Where I'm going to look at the Thorograph numbers on some of the early Breeders' Cup Classic contenders. So we can kind of get an idea at what direction that race is heading, and have some fun doing it. So with that, thank you everybody for tuning in. Appreciate it. Hit the like button if you enjoy the show. Subscribe, turn on the notifications, show us some love out there. And most important, put down in the comments any Thoroughgraph, any races coming up that you want me to do the Thoroughgraphs on, and I'll try and get them done. Like I said, I picked the Ballerina this week because I knew it was going to be tough and challenging, and I figured we'd all get a little something out of it and see what we could do. But any races coming up, let me know. Even if you got a couple of suggestions, let me know, because a lot goes into figuring out which race we're going to do. So, let me know and let us know what you think of the shows, and what you think of Thoroughgraph, and if these things are helping. And thanks again, everybody, for turning in. And whatever happens, whatever you do, never, ever, ever let them get you alive.
Here comes journalism, here comes sovereignty, and they square off, heading to the final for sovereignty wins the Derby!
You're watching Past the Wire TV. Hit that like button and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.
You ain't smooth, you ain't never going to be a smooth operator.
Here comes journalism. Here comes sovereignty. And they square off. Head into the final furlong. Sovereignty wins the Derby.
You're watching Past the Wire TV. Hit that like button and subscribe to Past the Wire TV. Nobody does it better.
Are they talking about us? Shh. Wait. Are they talking about us? I think I heard Past the Wire. Past the Wire TV. They are talking about us. Often imitated, never duplicated. We are everywhere. Nobody does it better.